Howdy, howdy, it's Deficit Country here, and I'm going to do a commentary to Chewwies episode 2, Behind the Memes. Um, Quick fun fact out at the gate, it was only afterwards that I realised that I wanted to name the episode Flicktatorship, which would have been fucking bomb, but I missed it, and I'm unable to, change it now, which is really annoying. But yeah, the episode starts off with a reference to Kirkland and how he's constantly playing Kansas in the VC music bot. And me coming in there to enter the studio, so it has that warning sign with all the kind of gay fanfic pictures of Bug's life and oneself. And then I had the security guard coming in to accost me. Some of my lines here are actually, I think, slowed down because I said them too quickly when I was recording, and I didn't really want to go through the whole hassle of having to record them again. So some of them stretched out. I don't know if it comes across in the video or not, but still, the security guy here, I think he sent in lines for all the characters, as did the other guy for the cinematographer. Great job all around, but I think he really suited the security guard role. This episode in particular was really rough to record because the first time I tried capturing the footage, the laptop pretty much glitched out and I lost over an hour's worth of footage. This was towards the end of my laptop's life when it was gradually just dying, so I pretty much just gave up on it for a few months. And I think once I had finished college for the year, I decided to pick up the project again and just hammer it out in like a day or two. I just did all the shooting I needed for both scenes. Well, not both scenes because there's a few scenes, but all of it I just did in like one night because I was just tired and I wanted to see if I can get it done. And luckily I did, and I think it turned out really well. I really, really liked this episode. And of course, we have good old Celtic Horn coming in here, which I'd only realised now that I had fucked up his armor perms in the Arby Bowl video. So I wanted to get it correct this time. It's a pity that Celtic doesn't play game nights, but it's good that we can represent them fairly on screen, because that's one of the big things about Chewwies for real life people who are out and about in the server. Is I just want to represent them fairly on screen, if not by their dialogue, then at least by their appearance. So that cinematographer character, really good voice actor again. The mic was a bit spotty, but what can you say? I mean, if you get lines from Flick half the time, usually it's up against the point like this. So Flick is definitely the star of the show in this one. It's the whole episode is about how he treats his actors and staff on the oneself set. If it were like a real life movie set, which I think is a really funny concept for an episode. I was initially going to do like a mockumentary thing in the style of The Office, but I was told that somebody else in the server was planning on making something like that, so I just kind of decided to let them do that and just do mine as a kind of like a little behind the scenes little thing, but at the same time like an actual story with a start, middle and end. And I think this episode, in comparison to the first Chewwies, has a much better structure in terms of comic setup and payoff, because the episode starts with me coming into the server and being accosted by the security guard. So clearly it's already a tense set because Flick has these really high security measures. And the episode ends with us finding out why Flick is like that, because Jazz had actually told John that Flick was going to kill himself if he didn't watch oneself. Now, of course, Jazz wasn't the person who did this, but that was all in the purpose of the arc or the story of the episode, which I think is nice. So obviously we have Maria or Bonke in here with Jazz and Aladar, and I love the whole idea of them wearing their costumes and stuff, and how Jazz takes this off. And since Maria doesn't really play Halo, I decided just to keep her in Sonya's outfit. It's kind of like, even though Blizz doesn't necessarily play Halo much these days, he still had a setup that we used for Civil Discord, which is the setup you see in this. Nowadays he tells me that he'd rather go around in Master Chef's or Commander Chef's outfit, which is I would have no problem doing that, but I'd want to write a whole gag around him not being able to depart from his character. I was considering having that be a gag with Maria, how she constantly goes around in Sonya's armor and how she thinks she's Sonya, but I couldn't find a way of that being funny because Sonya's character is extremely Polish and Maria is just Polish. So if it was like that with Blizz, it would have been funnier because Commander Chef is extremely gay, and that would be funny for Blizz because it could just be a pretty extravagant gay joke. But I think it's fine with this, you know.
Long day at the office?
We have a nice little nod there to Desi with the "what's happening, guys?" Abused cast members here. All this exchange feels really good to me. I feel really proud of this episode because I feel like the dialogue flows really well. I think there's like a thread that takes you from one scene to the next.
What about you, bro?
Chewie's one just feels really janky and unnatural to me. It feels like none of the conversation's normal. All this feels really good to me. Even this thing, like this is one of the first shots that I remember writing for the episode. Is just Jazz taking off his outfit, you know, taking Derelict to the nightclub. So in this shot here, obviously, Jazz is taking Derelict to the Falcon, but I could have actually, using the trusty snooze mod, I could have gotten the passenger Falcon and put it in there, but I have them all done on the Forge world. So that actual shot of me getting into the Falcon in the back, in the passenger Falcon, it's actually taken from Forge world. But it's similar environments with trees and rocks, so I decided just to crop it a little bit and put me in there. And then it takes us nicely into the nightclub. And one thing I'm surprised that more people don't do is they don't make use out of Reach's campaign sandbox for its campaign. I don't mod the campaign at all. I just go out and I shoot everything, and obviously it's very big game files to be working with. I have to go all the way through the game footage, but Christ, even today Reach has these beautiful environments in campaign, and I hope to use them more moving forward. Obviously they enter in here and using a little bit of a soundtrack from Arabina Chief. This isn't the track that John made. I think it's another one. I can't remember the name, but I love the soundtrack that I have picked for this episode and actually moving forward for other episodes of Chewwies, if I make them. It's a lot of like early 2000s and 90s trance and dance. Just because, like, I don't know, I've been in a nostalgic mood ever since I was putting these stuff together. I feel like this episode makes really good use of this nightclub space in New Alexandria. I think it's Club Herrera. And we have Kirkland here voicing the bartender, which he did a really good job. I mean, it's kind of confusing because, you know, later on I'm using the actual voice bites from the Brutes, which I think I was using those files for something else. But there's a bunch of cut lines from the Brutes from Halo Reach that I just put in because I thought they were funny. This part right here with Jazz and me is a reference to American Psycho with Paul Allen and Patrick Bateman when they're like, I guess, flexing at that restaurant. I kind of wish I cleared out this area with the grenades and the rocket launcher, but whatever. I like this whole awkwardness with Blizz and Jazz, which was like a reference to an event that happened in the bunker the summer before last, which was cringe and whatever, and I kind of got caught in the middle of it, even though I had no real stake in it. So that's kind of what this scene here is happening, where Jazz is too drunk to be subtle, and I think it's funny. I think there's like decent comedic timing in here, even though like a lot of the people who might watch these videos might not understand all the in jokes and stuff. I feel like there's enough happening here and enough going together to kind of get some kind of comedic value out of it. And I like how animated the background is. Like, it's not distracting. It doesn't pull you away from the characters in the foreground, but all the grunts dancing, all the lights and stuff. And even like that bit with Jazz doing the piss, I had to work a small bit to get that working, but with the way the hands are holding the plasma pistol, it's almost like he's unzipping his fly or something. So I've always wanted to do a piss joke with that. And then we have the Kerncraft zombie. Was it Zombie Nation? That's the one. Before that, we had I can't remember the artist, but it was Ecuador, which is just a great dance song. Yeah, interesting use of reverse shots here because they weren't at the counter there. That's actually from the previous scene before Jazz pisses, and I really hope nobody noticed that because it took a while for me to notice it after I edited it. When I was editing, I realized, oh shit, I don't have the shots I need. And I'm pretty sure when it came to time to actually edit this, my laptop had, you know, kicked in for good, so I couldn't really go back and reshoot stuff. But yeah, then we have this bit where Flick goes on a killing spree. I don't know why I didn't have more shots from using a shotgun and just using a melee attack on characters, because I downloaded a bunch of high quality shotgun sound effects and I didn't use them for this. And if you listen to a lot of the sounds that are being used here, like when he kills the grunt, you can hear the gas tank and stuff. My Elgato wasn't working at 100% at the time, so a lot of the audio that you can hear in this episode isn't actually from Reach's diegetic sound mix. It's actually stuff that I had to source. So I had to, all the environment sounds on the one self set, all the stuff in the nightclub, all stuff I had to pull from my royalty free sound bank. God, I like this environment so much. I do more with it, but I don't like recycling environments, so. Wow. I really hope I'll be able to make more episodes like this. And then obviously you have Jazz coming in to see that everyone in the club has been killed. And I didn't want to show Derelict and Bliss being killed. I just wanted you to see this massacre being left behind, and then eventually seeing Derelict and Bliss lying down there killed by Flick as well. And maybe he didn't even notice that they were killed. He just kind of did it in a blind rage. And, you know, now you have two main characters that are just dead, lying on the ground. And all Jazz can care about is who spilled his drink. And Flick is confident that he killed whoever told John that he was going to kill himself. And then Jazz just kind of passively goes, "Oh, but that was me." And Flick is in disbelief. So yeah, that was Chewwies episode 2, Behind the Memes. It was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed listening to it. Obviously, I think a trend that I'd like to do with Chewwies going forward is to have kind of like, not like a post-credit scene, but like a little post-credits gag, like I did with episode 1. Now, the one with episode 2, it's not actually a scene. It's just, you know, a bunch of audio that Flick threw into his lines when he was sending them to me. And I may or may not have played around with those lines a little bit, just so he couldn't outsmart me. But yeah, thanks for checking this out. New videos coming soon. And look after yourself. Okay.